Listen, wanted to jump on, talk about labels, how bad.
People. I feel like a lot of people spend time creating these labels, like whether it be labels dealing with learning disabilities, it's just so many different things that people come up with now on to explain, like, I won't say shortcomings, but some people, to explain people's characteristics, what we consider to be subpar or under average. But in order to get what an average is, there has to be a baseline that's set. And then my question then becomes, who sets that baseline? Like, why is that even a thing that someone has to set a baseline, and then from there, whatever those scores are, that's how you determine um, average, below average, superior, et cetera, et cetera. It's something about that that's not quite fair to me. I remember taking this test in school, um, in college. It's actually the praxis, and so a friend of mine was like, "Man, if you take it this year, if you take the practice this year, then this year's score is the baseline score, so there is no failure. She can't fail it." And I was like, "Really? Like that didn't make sense to me. That there's a group of people that get to go in and take this test, and their score won't matter at all, but everybody after that score, they're going to create a baseline based on them." So, um, again, fair, unfair. How do you determine or pick? How do you pick what that? How you're going to establish a baseline. I said all that to say, um, that's like one of the ways that people become labeled. IQ scores. What else? Grades in school. People are judged by. They are judged by what someone else's perception of average, etc., is. And to me, it doesn't. I won't say it doesn't make sense, but to me, it's not fair. And so, the story that I mentioned today in one of my shorts was a young lady I used to work with who graduated from high school and college, and it wasn't until she graduated from college that she was diagnosed with dyslexia. And she said that she went all through school thinking she was just she with this internal struggle, like there's something wrong with me. Maybe I just need to study harder. And so she just studied harder. Um, she said, whereas someone could read a page one time and get it, she's like, I might be reading the page and then it looked like the words moved. And so I'd have to start over and read the page all over again. And she said she would just do that over and over and over again. So some stuff that would take us average of maybe a couple of hours would take her like sometimes 4 or 5 times more than that. And instead of her going and being diagnosed with something, she just coped with it. And she didn't only just cope with it, but she learned to survive. And then she went on again to get a college degree. But I think sometimes it just seems like the secular world is so into diagnosing. They're into diagnosing, but just as sure as I can diagnose it, is the same amount of energy being put into attempting to eradicate, fix, et cetera, et cetera. And I think maybe there are times where that is happening, but I don't know. I tend to think there seems to be a fight. For example, people they identify certain forms of cancer, but there are people that are fighting hard and they coming up with this cutting edge technology on eradicating cancer, but it doesn't look like the same amount of money, energy, and time is being put into eradicating it, because then it makes me think that there is really a conspiracy to keep this stuff around. Like if you keep it, if you don't get rid of it, there are a lot of businesses that are going to close. There are a lot of doctors that are going to have to find something else to do if people start, if they find a way to cure cancer. And so I said all those things to say, I think it's important to be careful about labels and allowing labels to lead or guide the way you move in life. Because if that woman would have allowed the diagnosis of um, dyslexia, I believe personally, had she known or had heard that that's what she had, she would have given herself an excuse to yield to or give in to. But instead, she didn't. She just thought it. She just needed to study that much more. All right, that's my spiel. Be careful about labels.